وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. All praise due to Allah, and His praise and blessings and peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his companion, his family, and his followers until the day of judgment. I bear witness that Allah is the only one worthy of worship, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his last and final messenger. Today we will be finishing up the hadith number 31 in the 40 hadith collection of Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala. And the hadith that we started last week, hadith Sahl ibn Sa'd radiyallahu an, Sa'd ibn Sahl radiyallahu an, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when a man asked him, Ya Rasulullah, dullani ala amalin idha amiltuh ahabbani Allah wa ahabbani an-nas, faqal izhad fi ad-dunya yuhibbuka Allah wazhad fima 'inda an-nas yuhibbuka an-nas. That the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a man came to him and he asked him, O Messenger of Allah, direct me to an act which if I do it, that will cause Allah to love me and the people to love me. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, re-announce the world and Allah will love you, and re-announce what the people possess and the people will love you. And this hadith reported by Ibn Majah and others. We talked about the translation of re-announce and referring to az-zuhd, az-zuhd, as we said last week, في لغة العرب هو التقليل. مال زهيد يعني قليل. It means something insignificant. The word zuhd means something insignificant, something not much, very little, very small amount. And usually people say az-zahid, ascetic, and az-zuhd, asceticism. That's how usually they translate it. But the real meaning behind zuhd, I don't know if that word will represent the meaning that I just told you. It means something small, something insignificant. And we said that the ulama debated what az-zuhd could mean. When Islam tell you to be an ascetic, what that means. Some ulama said az-zuhd, يعني you will have no interest in haram. قالوا الزهد هو ترك الحرام. So الزاهد هو من لا يقارف الكبائر وكبائر الذنوب. The ascetic person is the one who avoid what is forbidden on him or her. So if a person will not practice the major sins and avoid it and fulfill the obligations, that person called zahid. And some of the Salaf were said, what is az-zuhd in money? How can you be an ascetic when it comes to money? He said that you only take the halal money and you leave the haram money. You have no interest in a source of income which is haram. Any wealth that you can get from haram, you don't want it. You don't run after it. You don't consume it. So that's one opinion. Also, some others said no. الزهد being ascetic يعني أنه لا تكن لك همة في المباحات وفضول المباح. That you have no interest at all in the things which are permissible in Islam or in life, permissible, but you have no interest in it. You are devoted 100% to the things that are either obligatory on you or recommended for you. You have no interest in the world. You have no interest in the fun. You have no interest in this. Oh, there is a new movie out there. There is a new show there. There is this. You have no interest in that. It's not of my concern. I don't even care for it. There is a car. I don't care. I have a transportation. I don't care. So somebody, he is not attached to the dunya ever. And there is some people like that. يقولون الإمام أحمد رحمه الله المرة الوحيدة التي تكلم فيها عن الدنيا. الإمام أحمد, the student, said the only time الإمام أحمد رحمه الله have asked about worldly materials, the only time in his lifetime that his students heard him, he asked a man about what kind of materials they used to build their masjid. He said, how's your masjid? It's built in a very nice way. What is that thing that you build your masjid with? This is the only time قالوا ما سمع تكلم في الدنيا إلا في هذه. Can you imagine? Yani, it's unbelievable. It's not easy life. It is very hard. And if you read Imam Ahmad's life, for example, you will know that this person never ever spoke about the dunya. Al-Rabi' ibn Khuthaym, the same thing. Never spoke about anything related to it. Never ever had interest in anything from the worldly life. So that's one interpretation for the word zuhd. Another interpretation for the third opinion about الزهد is هو قصر الأمل في الدنيا. It is to have very little interest in the dunya, and you have little hope in this life, and you're planning only for the akhirah, or mainly for the akhirah. Mainly for the akhirah. He said, you don't think of life that's going to be very long, very wide in front of you. You know, one brother was telling me last week, Sheikh, what about like me? I plan for the next 10 years, 20 years, for my next 15 years. Okay, with that. According to this definition, that will not be part of the zuhd for dunya. And you don't think that far. And there is people who are like that. كان ريحانة بغداد Abu Fayruz Ma'ruf al-Karhi, one of the great ascetics and worshippers, avid worshippers, قدموه للصلاة. They told him, lead the prayer in Isha. He said no. So the Imam told him, خلاص, I lead Isha and you lead Fajr. قال والله إن كنت تأمل أن تعيش إلى الفجر فلن تحسن العشاء. If you think you're going to live all the way to Fajr, you'll never perfect your Isha prayer, because you have a long hope in this life to live all the way to the morning. And they based this on the Prophet ﷺ's hadith. قال إذا أمسيت فلا تنتظر الصباح وإذا أصبحت فلا تنتظر المساء. If you in the night don't expect the morning, in the morning don't expect the night. In another word, they took this narrations and that's how they interpreted. But each and every one of these interpretations, there is a problem with it. As much as we have hadith tells you not to think long for a plan for a long term in your life, you have another hadith, another narrations telling you to plan for your life. النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم, he said, لأن تترك أولادك أغنياء خير من أن تتركهم عالة يتكفلون يسألون الناس. To leave your family well off, to leave the family with the means of surviving, better than to leave them poor, and they ask people for donations. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam as well planned. He planned long plans, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he spoke to them of the companion. If you live long, you're going to see this and you're going to see that, and this is going to happen. And he planned the Sahaba for what will come in the future for them. Okay, and the Nabi ordered us to, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us to take the necessary means that we need. Al-akhdh bil-asbab. طيب. وخيركم من طال عمره وحسن عمله. يقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, the best among you, the one who live long, and do more good. And he said the best of all money is the money that possessed by the righteous person. خير المال الصالح في يد الرجل الصالح أو العبد الصالح, the righteous person. So that's in regard to this. But what about that az-zuhd is to avoid what is haram? That's also good, but it's not perfect. Because that means everybody is almost like a zahid. Zuhd is a higher level. Being ascetic, that's a level higher than just avoiding the major sins. So that led some of them to say, looking into all these meanings, and to be honest with you, each and every one of these interpretations, there is some truth in it. The real ascetic, the one who have not that long hope in the dunya, even when he plan for the next year, plan for his children, he is ready to leave today. He's ready to depart tonight. He expecting that he might be dying tonight, and this is last night. Even though I'm planning, but it never let this long-term plans block me from seeing my destiny, block me from seeing my real reason to be here in this earth. Allah didn't put me in this earth to have a degree or to have a job or to make a career. Allah put me in this for these are good, but the main reason for it is to worship Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when I return back to Him, I will be among the lucky one, the one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is happy and proud of. While I'm doing this, I'm supposed to na'mur al-ard. We're supposed to establish ourselves in this earth, having society, building communities, building families, and so forth. There's no contradictions, no contradiction. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا تمدن عينيك إلى ما متعنا بهم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, ولا تنس نصيبك من الدنيا. Don't forget your share from the dunya. But in the other verse he said, ولا تمدن عينيك إلى ما متعنا به أزواجا منهم زهرة الحياة الدنيا لنفتنهم فيه ورزق ربك خير وأبقى. And you don't attach your heart and your eyes, and you just حتى تمد عينك, you stretch your eyes like, wow. You know, sometimes when you see some of our young and old brothers, when they see something like very materialistic, even our children sometimes, and I always watch my children when they do stuff like that, I said, hey, remember, the Jannah has better things. You know, when you see like my kids like, wow, this is like, as if this is the biggest thing ever in the world. This car or this house or this. No, remember, there is something better in the Akhirah. When the Muslim always think like that, think that he is or she is closer to be an ascetic. Remember, az-zuhd huwa what? To see things as insignificant. To see the dunya as something not a big deal. Az-zuhd fi dunya is to see it as something small. It will always look small in your eyes. The moment it becomes something big, the moment you're not basically treating it as with zuhd. And that's led Shaykh al-Islam rahimahullah to say, az-zuhd هو ترك ما لا ينفع في الآخرة. Ibn Taymiyyah defined as zuhd by after mentioning tons of narrations, tons of different definitions, he said as zuhd is to avoid or to not have interest in things that it will not benefit you in the hereafter. It will not benefit you from there. So even if you go after materialistic things, حتى لو أخذت نصيبك من الدنيا, even if you look after money, children, family, jobs, expanding, you have to do this with the intention of that these will be means to benefit you in the Akhirah. That's what it is. So the real meaning of zuhd is to limit the amount of things that you do it 100% purely for the worldly enjoyment. For the worldly enjoyment. And this should be the smallest percentage in your life. But everything else in your life, it should be something you do it while your eyes on the Akhirah. This is something can take me there. And I remember I give you example. You might go exercise. You might go on a diet. Not because you want to look fit and people compliment you, or maybe you want to get married, whatever. You know what? No. You do this because you know what? I want to stay healthy. I can continue in my salah. I want to enjoy my sujood. And instead of like when you go to sujood, you barely can breathe because your stomach, preventing you from making sujood. You want to do that. You want to be able to be old, but you still go to umrah, still go to hajj. So if this is your intention, see, it's a materialistic thing, but again, it's a worldly thing. But your eyes on the Akhirah, something will benefit you in the Akhirah. Yes, I want to expand my business. Yes, I want to make more business. Yes, I want to have a bigger house. But I want to do this while my eyes is, you know what? Inshallah, I will have a place in my house to invite people over, to have a halaqah in my house, to start maybe a little musalla in my house for my family when I have big families. Things from that nature. So you always think about the Akhirah way more than what you think about the dunya. If you do that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you. Tell me why. Why would Allah loves you if you think this way and you act this way?
Because You make the dunya primary.
Because you make the akhirah your primary. So why he would love me if I make my hereafter my primary? Because in the akhirah, that's where we're going to meet him. That's where we're going to be with him. That's where we're going to be meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hereafter. That means you're focusing on him only, nothing else. So these things that's in the dunya didn't distract you from him. The only thing good about al-akhirah is what? Is meeting Allah. Is seeing him, is talking to him. That's the best thing. So imagine if I tell you that it's most of my day I think about you, Mahmoud. And I think about you more than anybody else. Everything I do, I don't think about, it's going to benefit him. Well, you would love me because I'm always thinking about you. I'm always devoting myself to you. Same thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If always everything you do, you're thinking of him. You're basically directing things towards him. That's why he loves you and he's proud of you. He's so proud of you. Al-ulama, they said, people with the dunya are different. There's different type of people when it comes to dealing with this worldly life. Some people will have wealth and they will possess the wealth. They will possess the wealth. And when they possess this wealth, they might use it to benefit themselves and others. And you will find a lot of companions were like that. Uthman ibn Affan was an extremely rich companion. Abdul Rahman ibn Auf were extremely rich companion. Without exaggeration, if I put all your wealth, you guys in this masjid together, even though some of you maybe have money, and all your business together, you will be nothing comparing to the amount of money that Abdul Rahman ibn Auf had. With all your assets, all of you here in the masjid. I calculated once some of the thing that he used to do, like how much in dollar it's worth. Once he gave $20 million, just like that, to Aisha radiallahu anha, to Ummat al-Mu'mineen, to the Prophet's wives. It's just like that. If you calculated how much that's worth in dollars today, you talk about 20 millions. That's something just he gave like that. It's unbelievable amount of wealth. كان يقول رضي الله عنه إذا رفعت حجر وجدت تحته ذهب. When I leave a rock, I'll find a piece of gold underneath of it. Was so blessed. And Uthman was extremely rich man as well. And so many companions were like that. But their hearts never were attached to the dunya. That's one category of people. Another category of people who, when they get the money, they never possess it. Any money they get, they spend. They would never go with like account or saving account. They had this lifestyle. Everything comes, goes. Like Aisha radiallahu anha and so many others as well. And those who give it, al-ulama said, some they give it while they are happy to give, and some they give it while they are like fighting themselves, but still are good people, both. But not everyone, even the early generation, used to give the money, and it's like so easy for him. It is something he used to struggle, she used to struggle with, until they give it up. And there is other category of people who never had any access to wealth. Never had access to wealth. ما عمره شاف الدرهم والدينار. الله يرحم أيام. Subhanallah. I remember when I was in high school and go to college. Have you remember the first big check you ever received, or a good amount of money you ever received in your hand? Like the first, like 1,000. Wow, we never count thousands before. We always like tens and 15s and 25 and 35 and 100, 200, 1,000. Now you speak with thousands. You don't speak with hundreds anymore. Can you imagine that? Some of you remember the first $1 million. Okay? You see? What are you talking about, Sheikh? What are you talking about? First $1 million. Okay? But you know what? There is people now, they don't remember the first $1 million. It means nothing to them. It's a big, so here they said there is another kind of people, they never had the wealth. And those who never had a wealth, there is two types. One who never had a wealth and they never cared for it. They never asked for it. يقولون عبد الملك بن مروان دخل على سالم بن عبد الله. عبد الملك came to Salim ibn Abdullah and he said to him while Salim ibn Abdullah making طواف في الكعبة, فقال يا سالم سلني أعطيك ما تشاء. Ask me and I will give you any money you want. قال يا أمير المؤمنين في بيته وأسأل غيره. He said, يا أمير المؤمنين, I am in Allah's house and ask someone else. يعني if I'm in your house, Dr. Abdul Latif, I cannot ask someone else to get me something. I ask the person, the owner of the house. I'm in his house and ask someone else. He felt shamed. So the Caliph went outside, waited. Even to the extent the servants and his advisors said, Ya Amir, go home and ask him to come. He said, no, I will wait for him until he leaves. So he left late in the day. This after Fajr he talked to him. So like midday he left the masjid, haram. Then he saw him outside. He said, now you are outside the masjid. Ask me, do you have a debt? Do you have, and you're in debt, you need money? I'll give you whatever you want. He said, يا أمير المؤمنين أمن دنيا تملكها أم وكلك الله عليها. Is it something that you own or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just give you power over it? It's not really yours, but Allah give you the authority to distribute it. He said, no, I'm not an owner, I'm a distributor. So he said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, Wallahi, I never ask the honor of this world from anything. So you think I'm going to ask the distributor? If I never ask the honor, do you think I will ever ask the distributor? I never ask the one who owns it, anything from it. قال إن كنت لم أسألها ممن يملكها فكيف أسألها ممن لا يملكها. So there is a type of people like that, never ever cared for the dunya. They never cared for it. And there is other, no, their hearts is basically melting over the dunya. There is other people, their hearts, if they lose an opportunity, khalas, this is like, they got sick, especially those who are known in the history as stingy. Those who seek the wealth, seek the dunya, seek position, seek money, seek fame, for the purpose of using this for good cause, are better or those who have no interest in it at all. This has become a long debate, as you can imagine, because every side, it has a point of argument. And it became a long argument in the books of Zuhd and the books of Tasawwuf and stuff like that. They talk a lot about this issue, and you will find among as-Salaf who took both sides. But the majority of the muhaqqiqeen min ahl al-ilm, they said the one who seek the dunya for the purpose of using it to serve the deen is higher level. And in Nakha'i rahimahullah, wal Hasan al-Basri, the great ascetics in the history have adopted this position. Zuhri rahimahullah and others. And Umar ibn Abdul Aziz is one great example. يحبك الله. Allah loves you. أهل السنة والجماعة يعتقدون أن الله سبحانه وتعالى يحب, ومحبة الله لعباده ليست كمحبة العباد للعباد. We believe that Allah loves, and the way He loves us, not in the same way similar to the way we love one another, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves us. We know what loves means, because pay attention to this. Any attributes contain two things. كل صفة تتضمن أمران. الأمر الأول المعنى، والأمر الثاني الكيفية. Any attributes contain two things: meaning and how it looks like, how it functions. So for example, if I tell you the word car, do you understand a meaning from the word car? Do you? Do you? Yes. What do you understand? Vehicle. That's right. Very good. A mean of transportation. And there is another thing other than the meaning, which is how it looks like. Question: can you define to me or tell me how this car looks like? If you say 4, could be 3. There is cars with 3 wheels. If you said white, I can tell you maybe it's black. Is it pickup? It's a sedan. It is this car, that car. That's right. So many different type of cars. It's a toy car or it's a real car. It's a car. It is so many things you can think of. So, question: not knowing how it looks like prevented you from knowing what it means? No, there is no correlation. لا تلازم. عدم معرفة الكيفية لا ينفي عدم معرفة المعنى. Not knowing how it looks like, it doesn't mean what it means. The question: knowing what it means, does that necessitate knowing a specific look for it? No. Make sense? Simple? The same thing with Allah's attributes. This simple fact, this is what حير ألوف من البشر في تاريخنا وقبل تاريخنا. Thousands of people have gone astray because they couldn't understand that simple fact that I related to you in relation to Allah's attributes. A lot of people couldn't comprehend this. They thought if you say Allah loves, or Allah has a face, or Allah walks, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala moves, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends, or Allah speaks, they immediately thought of it, He speaks like us. So that means He has a vocals, a voice, and His voice looks like that and caused by throat. He must have teeth, He must have tongue, He must have lips, pronunciation. They always try to make it similar to us. He has hand, that means His skin, He has blood, He has muscles, He has this. And they said, so that's how they thought. Is that true? No. Because Allah said Allah is nothing similar to Him. We know He has hand. We know what that means. It means a hand. But how it looks like, we don't know. He loves, but how He loves, because some people said, A'udhu billah, we cannot say Allah loves. Why? They said, قالوا لأن المحبة ضعف. They said because love is a sign of weakness. And we all know that, that's right, because we love our wives. It's your weakness. Okay, because you love someone, you became weak in front of that person. So they said, and Allah cannot be weak. Yeah, that's your love, but not Allah's love. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves in a way different than the way we love each other. But we know that He loves us. He knows that He loves us subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's so beautiful to say that, because can you imagine you're loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala one way only? Can you imagine what this hadith means when the Prophet said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves it when you do this. He loves when you do that. If you think Allah doesn't love, why would I be even motivated to do that? So there is another, some people said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't love. Loves, it means He rewards. We asked them simple question. Why are you guys saying He rewards? Why didn't you say He loves? Because if He loves, He became like us, because we are the one who loves. Last time I checked, also we reward people. Don't we? Oh, but the way He reward people different than the way we reward people. Why? Exactly. So what? The same thing. ولذلك ما يقال في بعض الصفات يقال في بعضها الآخر. What you say about some, you say about all. That's why those people who took that methodology, which is known in the history of theology as al-Asha'ira, They never ever had a straight, uncontradicted methodology. They always contradict each other, themselves, at the end of the day. And الجهمية as well. طيب. ثم قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ازهد فيما في عند الناس. Have very little interest in what people have in their hands. People will love you. Because يا أخي الكريم, people don't like those who want to share with them their dunya. People don't like that. People like you to keep your distance. And don't ever have your heart attached to what people have in their hands. And isn't that what exactly زهد means? أليس الزهد في الدنيا هو أن تزهد في الدنيا كلها ما في يد الناس وما ليس في يد الناس. الزهد in dunya is not to have interest in what people have in their hands or not having in their hands. But it became worse when you are so interested in what people have in their hands. And this is quite a problem we see sometimes in community. And it's very disturbing. I give you real examples. MashaAllah, you know, what this car, how did you get it? Where do you get it from? I wish I can get one like that. Yet, would you like to be around somebody like that? You immediately turn off, that's right. Masha, how did you finish your degree? How much money you make? And blah, blah, blah. Ya akhi, what is your problem, man? You say, MashaAllah, tabarakallah. You know, you get off completely when people start talking about things personal to you. Like this. So always show little interest in having what people have in their hands and people having what in their hands. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said, شرف المؤمن قيامه الليل وعزه استغناؤه عن الناس. The honor of the believer when he or she stand up in the night and pray. That's the honor. Why it's honor? How you get to be an honorable person? In the old days, you became honorable when the king make you a knight. When you have a special access to the kings, to the great people, you become an honorable person. Those who hang out with the kings and the lords and the highest in the society, known as the honorable people. Those who hang out with sa'alik, with no one or no one. So when you are in the night invited by Allah and you come to be with Allah alone, you're an honor. Why? Because you are with the most honorable one, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ذاك هذا شرف للمؤمن. An honor. You know, I'm honored to be here. When you go invited by the president or invited by the mayor, it's an honor to be here, sir. Allah invite you and you come to the invitation in the night. In Isha, we all come. But in the middle of the night, only few goes. It's a very special invitation. Very special invitation. طيب. قال الحسن البصري لا تزال كريما على الناس ولا يزال الناس يكرمونك ما لم تعاطي ما في أيديهم فإن فعلت ذلك استخفوا بك وكرهوا حديثك وأبغضوك. You will always be respected by people and honored by people as long as you don't talk about what they have in their hands. The moment you talk about and show interest in what they have and you wish to be like you became like more involved in their personal life, they don't care for you, they hate to talk to you, and they hate you, they don't even be around you. قال أيوب السختياني لا ينبل الرجل يعني يكون من النبلاء حتى تكون فيه خصلتان العفة عما في أيدي الناس والتجاوز عنهم. You will not be a noble person until you have these two qualities. Number one, you show no interest in what people have in their hands and you forgive people their mistakes. And قيل when somebody entered al-Basra, so he asked, who is the master of al-Basra? Who is the most noble person in the city of al-Basra? They said al-Hasan al-Basri. So they said, why? قال لأنه لا يستغني أحد من أهل البصرة عنه وعن علمه وهو مستغن عما في أيديهم من الدنيا. Everybody in this city needs that man knowledge, and he has no interest in what people have in their hands from the wealth. طيب, is it allowed to ask people what they have? Can I ask you? يعني أنا I see مثلا محمد سعد كذا okay and I say والله يا أخي أنا I really like your watch والله it looks so nice on you, on me I mean on you, you know. Okay, so it matched my skin even better. Can I say something like that? Wallahi, I like your iPhone. I wish I have one like that. Wallahi, I have seen people like this. في ناس فيهم دناءة يعني. They're very low. They ask openly like that. Okay? Can you do that? Is this allowed or not allowed? Al-ulama said, absolutely not. To ask كذا blunt or even giving a hint is not a good manners at all. To do that, it's a bad manners, and you should not do that. They said unless in only one case you can ask someone they have if you know by asking that will make them so happy. يعني sometimes you know if you ask me while I'm eating, Wallahi, mashallah, this looks so nice. And I'm so happy I share with you sometimes. Don't take my word. I'm just kidding. Okay? I'll be so happy to share with you what I have. Wow, this is nice perfume. Yeah, go ahead. Try it. If you know that this is going to make the person so happy, do it. If you really think that this is going to make... They said, why? Because the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam كان مر في بيت بريرة. He sallallahu was at Barira's house. So in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the companion said, let's go. Then the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, ألم أرى البرمة على النار. البرمة يعني اللحم. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, we're leaving. I saw the meat on the fire. And she's barbecuing, she's cooking. So they said, Ya Rasulullah, this is from the sadaqah. This is basically was charity giving to him. Then the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, because as you know, the Prophet ﷺ and his family cannot eat from the food which is sadaqah, which charity. He cannot take from the charity. So the Prophet ﷺ said it was charity to her and gift to us. They ate at her house. Barira considered this the best thing ever happened in her life, because the Nabi ate her food and prayed for her. So the ulama made a comment on this hadith. He said that's the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked from that meat only because he wants to make her happy. That's why I know Shaykh, when they ask people, they make them happy. But not so hard. No, just kidding. Yes. And also another example, a companion said, Ya Rasulullah, can you give me this robe? So in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he just got this. He said, yes, take it. So they asked the companion, why did you ask? The Prophet just got it. He didn't even enjoy wearing it yet. He said, because I want to be buried with it. And soon this man died and he was buried with it. Or another issue, he said, can you give it to me so I can bury my father in it? Sure, my father, and put him inside it, and I can put him in his grave. So for a reason, yes, Ya Allah. But just for the love of what people have, no. The person should be dignified. Dignified. And people have amazing ways of doing this, or a strange way, in another word, to do this. But I want to end with something. Commonly, we hear some of the khutaba, some of the shuyukh, some of the people narrating hadiths, narrations from the Prophet ﷺ or from the companions. It gives a very negative look to the worldly life. الدنيا ملعونة ملعون ما فيها. Even هذا الحديث أكثر العلم على تضعيفه. لكن الدنيا, all this worldly life is cursed, and everything in it is cursed except ذكر الله وما والاه وعالما ومتعلما, except ذكر Allah and learning the knowledge. Or they said, Jundub radiallahu anhu said, حب الدنيا رأس كل خطيئة. Loving the dunya is the source of all sins. من أحب الدنيا وسرته فهو خرج حب الآخرة من قلبه. نقل هذا عن الحسن البصري. If you love the dunya, you never love the akhirah. الدنيا والآخرة ككفتي الميزان. عون مرة قال. It's like the two sides of the scale. If this goes heavy, this one goes up. He said قال وهب إنما الدنيا والآخرة كرجل يعني له امرأتان إن أرضى أحدهما سخطت الثانية. طبعا أكثركم لا يعرف معنى هذا المثل بس يعني he said الدنيا والآخرة is like a man with two wives. You please one, you displease the other one. Okay, so these kind of examples, and you read especially in the books of Sufism, you will see a lot of debate which one is, and this competition, this kind of problem between the dunya and akhirah. And to be honest with you, these quotes are taken out of context, because the same man who said this said so many other things. The same man who said this, his lifestyle had to look at how Al-Hasan lived his life. Al-Hasan radiallahu anhu وأرضاه إذا رأيته when he used to dress يقولون هذا ملك كان يلبس ما يلبسه الملوك. He used to dress like a king. Al-Hasan al-Basri, very fancy, very beautiful, very clean. كان يأكل. Somebody told him, you eat so much for a zahid. He was like, he used to be very honorable, have a very honorable look, radiallahu anhu rahim. So we have to take this statement and look at the life of the person. You cannot just take one and you run away with it. You create a problem in this case. And that's why I think what solved this problem, what the Prophet ﷺ said in the famous hadith Zayd ibn Thabit عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال من كانت الدنيا أكبر همه. يا سلام. فرق الله عليه أمره وجعل فقره بين عينيه ولم يأته من الدنيا إلا ما كتب له منها. Those who wake up in the morning, or those who the worldly, this world, this life is their main concern, the Prophet ﷺ said they will have no stability in life. They don't know what rest means. فرق الله عليه أمره. He run after this, run after that. Wallahi ya akhwan, I have seen people in their late 70s and their mid 80s now, businessmen. I'm telling you, he has millions and millions of dollars. Literally millions of dollars. If him and his children and his grandchildren don't work from now until maybe 50 years, they will live a very luxurious life with the amount of money that they have. But still, this man, I was going to Umrah one day, he said, I wish I have time to go Umrah like you. المحروم من حرمه الله. The loser is the one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala block his heart. I said, like me? Ya akhi, you have, I'm too busy, meetings, and he's still in that cycle. فرق الله عليه أمره. And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, وَجَعَلَ فَقْرَهُ بَيْنَ عَيْنَيْهِ. He'll always see poverty in front of his eyes. What if I lose this? What if I lose that? And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, وَمَا أَتَاهُ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَا كُتِبَ لَهُ. And he only gonna get what has been decided for him. ومن كانت الآخرة نيته. شوف الحديث في الرواية قال نيته مش بس أمره. your intention always, you do things for the آخرة, for the hereafter. جمع الله عليه أمره. He will always feel content, and she will always feel contentment. And جعل غناه في قلبه, always have satisfaction, rest in his heart. وأتته الدنيا وهي راغمة. And the dunya comes to him, became slave to you instead you being a slave to the dunya. This hadith explain what all these narrations means. This statement from Hasan al-Basri, from الدنيا ملعونة, الدنيا من أحب الدنيا وسرتها ضرت بالآخرة. He talk about the people who focus only in the worldly matter and they have no interest in the akhirah, or they have harmed themselves or forget about the hereafter. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala جعلنا وإياكم موفقين. والله سبحانه وتعالى يجمع لنا وإياكم بين خيري الدنيا والآخرة وأن يستعملنا في طاعته. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا وعافنا واعف عنا واختم بالصالحات أعمالنا يا حي يا قيوم. وصل اللهم وسلم على نبينا محمد وآله. And inshallah next week we'll be speaking about Hadith